Hello and welcome to Witty Waves, we're the voices of the future. Today, we're diving into something every student and parent has in mind: careers, university choices, and how the GSG Advantage supports this journey. Joining us today is Anubhav Seth, sir, the Global Head of Career Counselling and University Guidance Program. So, thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting me.
So, let's start with a simple question that students often ask. How do I know which career is right for me? What do you usually tell them?
Yeah, I think this is a fantastic question. And the most important part is that there is no true formula to actually know that what you want to do, because as humans, our interests, our aspirations, our goals, they do change from time to time. But at this stage, when you are in grade 8, let's say, or grade 9, the best way to understand that what is it that you really want to do is by doing things. Because when you do projects, when you do activities, when you explore various areas, then you get to know that what you really like, what you are good at, and what are your real strengths. Now, I always advise students that pick up your interest when you are in grade 8th, 9th or 10th and explore as much as possible. However, you might come back and say that, hey, look, there are hundreds of career options. Where should I start? Where's the starting point? That is where our career counseling team at GSG comes into play. We help students to understand their real strengths, their work orientation, their aptitude, their personality traits via various psychometric assessments and subject combinations, and we help them to zero in on certain choices to start off with. That is a starting point, and that from there you can explore activities related to those choices, projects, which in turn slowly and steadily gives an idea that what you are really good at. And I think that is how you should do it. So in a sense, in a crux, identify a few areas based on your strengths and start exploring them. That is the best way. Build the projects. Go out of your classroom, do projects and various activities. That is the best way to explore careers and understand what you want to do.
Okay, great. So, are there any mistakes that students make while choosing subjects or careers which are very common?
Actually, there are no mistakes. This is a journey. You cannot put up one instance and say that, hey, this is the right way and this is the mistake. And I think we try to put students in boxes as the entire academic structure, which is not the right thing to do. But what I would suggest students and would recommend them that try to find the path, and whatever you are trying to do, have some solid reason behind that. So let's say I cannot start doing random activities, and typically students when they see so many clubs and so many activities happening across the school, they just participate. Why? Because their peers are participating. So all I would say that have solid reasons, have solid objectives behind every activity that you are doing. And once you start doing that, you will see that instead of having a random profile, you will have a very structured profile that would make sense. Most of the students make a mistake by not taking it as a journey. They kind of start collecting activities. Don't collect activities. Take it as a journey. Your every step has to be a pivot for the previous step, from the previous step. And just to kind of explain it to the audience, let's say you are doing a project related to maybe, let's say, robotics. And once you do that project, you understand that, hey, I'm very much interested in the electronics component of that. Maybe the next step would be to dive more deeper into that, rather than randomly choosing a separate activity altogether. So have a solid reason to pursue the next activity. That is the right way to do it.
Okay. So, let's talk university admissions. Students want to know, what do top universities really look for today?
Top universities, although it will vary from country to country, that what specific universities are looking forward to, but there are certain common elements that every university is looking forward to, and that is genuineness of your journey. Of course, academics, profile building activities and all those, they matter a lot. But what I would recommend students is to not look at it from a top-down approach, which most of the students do. They will look at the rankings, they will look at the profile of students who have got selected in the past, and they will see that, hey, a student who got into so-and-so universities, that student particularly went ahead and did these activities. and they will try and copy that. Don't do that. As I said a couple of minutes back, start exploring your journey. One activity should logically lead to another in which you will dive deeper. And once you do that, you are building your journey. So that is something authentic. That is something which showcases curiosity. That is something that showcases intense pursuit, which in turn collectively is a genuine profile that universities are looking forward to. And apart from that, some objective parameters like academics, your overall interest in the subject, your ability to innovate, your overall progression. Let's say you pick up an activity and how have you progressed in that activity. And eventually, universities also look for something which everybody else across the globe looks forward to in every aspect of life, that is impact. So these are few elements that universities really look forward to apart from the academics.
Okay. So that brings me to my next question. What is the right age or grade in which a student should start preparing for university applications?
So I would not kind of pinpoint a certain specific grade. Let's say if you are starting off in grade 11, you should not feel that you are left out. Again, I would recommend it should be genuine interest and it should be a genuine journey. Not particularly trying to fill up activities just to get into a university. But if you look at the entire school journey, and I'm being very practical in here, in high school, which is grade 10, typically if you are studying in an Indian curriculum or if you are studying in any Indian school across, very difficult to invest time in anything other than academics when you are in high school, 10th. Hard fact. Same goes with grade 12. And you will also spend a lot of time in compiling your applications, writing essays and all that. So if you look at the entire timeline of activities, typically you have grade 8, grade 9 and grade 11, where you can go ahead and do a lot of activities. Why I'm not saying that start off earlier than grade 8, because when you get into grade 8 and 9, you get some clarity that, okay, these are few subjects that I really like. And that is the point where your interest starts shaping. So I think the right time to start is typically around grade 8 and 9, where you should start exploring activities. Let's say you are studying a subject. Why not go ahead and build a small project around that? You don't need to join any specific course. There are tons and tons of tutorial on Reddit, Discord, YouTube. Figure that out. And actually that will help you to learn even better. So go ahead, experiment. That is where at least start looking at things, start exploring careers. I think that is where you should start.
Okay. So parents often find this process a bit overwhelming. So what's your message to them?
Oh, I think they find it overwhelming because, again, I would say that they try to just gather activities. That is the reason it is overwhelming. And that is where actually at GSG, in all our schools, we have a comprehensive career counseling and university guidance program. And that is where, right from helping students to identify strengths via psychometric assessments, via one-to-one counselings, where we give a detailed action plan, where we act as a guide. We are not prescribing anything, we are acting as a guide. We are helping you to arrive at that point where you are genuinely interested in that subject. So we help students with one-to-one counselings, detailed personalized guidance, and that helps students to zero in on activities that they really want to do, and which in turn builds their profile. And once they reach grade 11, typically they would have done a lot of things. And when they are in grade 11, we have a lot of destination sessions where we help students to understand each and every country, each and every course that is there in that particular university or a university in a particular country. So in a sense, we help them to understand everything. We are empowering them with knowledge. And then the personalized journey begins, where we brainstorm each and every application, where we help them to position their profiles, and eventually we help them to bring out the best in their profile by discussing and brainstorming the ideas with them. And I think that is where most of our students end up having powerful profiles. They put the best foot forward via the essays, and that is where I think they stand out, and it helps them to kind of remove any uncertainty or any confusion that is there, and that actually makes the student focus on the real thing rather than worrying about the entire process. So in a sense, The entire program takes away the anxiety, brings in the structure, and gives you the right direction to put your best foot forward. So I think nothing to be worried about if you are really at any GSG school. But in general, if you are not, my advice to you is think through, identify what you really want to do. Trust the website of colleges, don't gather your information by going to hundreds of forums and going through opinions, or probably in today's era summarizing via AI. I would strongly recommend, if you are genuinely interested in a course or a university, go to the website of university. Everything is there. Read it carefully. Might not be a bad idea to talk to some students who are already studying in there. If you are at Witty, we typically help you to connect with your alumni as well. So that is how you help in kind of removing all the anxiety and confusion. Relax. This is a beautiful process. And rather than making it transactional, that, hey, I'm just aiming for an admission, see it as a journey of discovering yourself. Because when you write essays, when you explore everything about your profile, it actually helps you to understand who you are. And I think once you start viewing the process like that, everything kind of falls in place.
Okay, awesome. So I have a question which every student wants answered. How to secure placements in top universities?
Okay, so this is another request, or you can say it recommendation or request to all the students and parents.
Right.
Stop looking at rankings and don't kind of make it a top-down approach where you look at the rankings, look at the top universities, and then say, hey, these are the top 10 universities, I want to apply in there. Of course, everybody wants to get into IITs, everybody wants to get into Stanford and Harvard and whatnot of the world. But my recommendation is, it's more about finding the best fit where you will thrive as an individual. So instead of figuring out that, hey, I want to get into these top universities, or I want to get into this particular course, figure out that what you really want and go to the website of that college. Try and understand that whatever you want to do, would you be really able to do that? Is the research that is going on in the institute aligned with what you want to do? Are the professors working on something that excites you? Find your motivation. I think once you find your motivation, it's relatively easy. Although it's not something that you can do it in a day, it's a gradual process. That is one. So stop referring only to rankings. It's good to see the rankings, but stop referring only to rankings. That is one. Now to just objectively answer your question that what universities are really looking for. So we can divide it into two, three important components. One, everybody is looking at academics. Without academics, you won't be able to get into top universities. In some sense, let's say in US, it's a holistic evaluation. So maybe having a slightly an academics where you are not really the topper of the class, but you have gone ahead and you have built a lot of your profile may matter because it's a holistic evaluation. But speaking in general, your academics is something which matters. Why? Because it is not a measure of your intelligence, but it's a measure of your ability to do consistent hard work. So academics is important. Then typically test scores. So if you are in India, you already know it's JEE, NEET, CLAT, IP-MAT, so and so, CUET, hundreds of exams. Then if you are applying to other countries, let's say in US, typically it's SAT, ACT. Then if you are, let's say, planning to get into law in UK, it's LNAT and so on and so forth. Multiple exams. So test scores. Test scores are typically your evaluation. They benchmark you on global standards, that how much knowledge you have. But in certain tests like SAT and ACT, they are evaluating your aptitude, your ability to understand certain level of curriculum that is being taught to you. So academics, to measure your consistent hard work, your ability to do consistent hard work, your ability to handle university level curriculum. These tests, standardized tests to measure your aptitude. And then this is the last thing which is more important, which is most important, is your profile. Not only from showcasing it to university point of view, but to also explore everything and finally arrive at that course and college that helps you to achieve your goal, to bridge the knowledge gap and to achieve something for which you are really motivated at. Now, what constitutes a profile? your ability to demonstrate interest. So all the projects, activities that you will do, that is very important. So you need to really focus on exploring those things. So that is one component of profile. Then your ability to solve problems. So let's say you are in a school. Let's say we are in Witty. What are the problems around you in your community? It doesn't matter if they are big or small, but are you motivated enough to really understand those problems, pick them up and solve? Are you a problem solver? So your ability to take up initiative, your ability to go ahead and solve that in minimalistic resources, essentially innovation. Then your ability to, as I said in past couple of minutes also, that your ability to intensely pursue something, progression. It should not be a case that you pick up something, before you even complete that, you kind of switch on to something else. Don't do that. Pick up something, complete that, showcase progression, and then eventually impact. So your projects, your activities, also some international competitions or even national level competitions. So let's say if you're planning to get into STEM, might not be a bad idea to explore Olympiads that are done by, for example, in India, I think it's done by Homi J. Bhabha Atomic Research Center and BAC together. Focus on all these competitions to showcase. If you are interested in programming, go ahead, solve a problem. Programming is everywhere. You can go ahead and actually build something, build a website, build an application to solve some basic problems. Your ability to give back to society, that is also very critical. And it can be in any form. I don't expect every student to just go on Saturdays and Sundays and start teaching at NGOs. Don't do that. If you're really passionate, please go ahead and do that. But don't do it for the sake of doing it. Just give back to society, and it can be in multiple formats. Maybe let's say you go ahead and build an application for individuals who are not able to access information that is in a complicated format. So let's say there are multiple government schemes. Very difficult to decode every scheme for a common man. Maybe you simplify the information, build an application where it's very easy for them to identify various schemes for them. Just an idea. Similarly, maybe your juniors want some knowledge, helping them, uplifting people around you. That is also giving back to society. So these are some ways of giving back to society. It also showcases that if this individual is given an opportunity, is given knowledge, that individual will gain that knowledge, add value to society, and then uplift people around themselves. So I think that is also very important. And these are the few things that top universities look for, and all combined they look for genuineness. So again, I would reiterate, it's a very important point. Do not try to copy what others have done. Build your own unique journey and try to focus on those things that you are really interested, and try to solve problems, give back to society. If you do that, I think you can get into any college, and that also applies to Indian colleges as well. So let's say I'm preparing for JEE, but I'm not passionate about physics, I'm not passionate about math, I'm not able to relate them to common problems. Then I will try and grind for 10-12 hours in a coaching institute and all that. But imagine a situation where you are really passionate about physics, where you are interested in understanding mathematics, where you are able to relate the chemistry that you are studying with something practical. You will be motivated to study. You will be excited that, okay, if I study this, I'll be able to do this particular thing. So approach everything in this manner, and I think if you do that, you will have enough drive to get into any top university.
Thank you. So before we wrap up, can you give one piece of advice which you want every student to remember?
I think there are multiple advice that I've given. Very difficult to pinpoint to one advice, because to be true, this will be different for different students. There's no one size fits all. But if I really have to answer this question, I think be authentic, be curious. Go ahead and kind of do activities to address that curiosity. So let's say if you are studying something in class, ask questions, go figure out, implement. And I'm not only talking about sciences. Let's say you're studying economics. There are hundreds of schemes and policies that governments across the globe release. And why can't you just go ahead and explore those policies? Try and understand that what are the principles that are being involved. So go ahead, experiment. Be curious. Just don't be someone who mugs up the syllabus, writes the exam and gets done with it. develop genuine interest. I think that is one piece of advice.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, once again for joining us. So, and to our listeners, be authentic, be curious, keep exploring, keep growing, and stay tuned for the next episode of Witty Waves.